You're listening to Earth Songs with Raven's Purple Haze.
We are going through an identity crisis as human beings. We don't identify and recognize ourselves or participate in this reality from the perceptual reality of a human being. We do it from gender, we do it from race, we do it from religion, we do it from blah, blah, blah. We do it from all these different things, but we don't participate in this reality with the perceiving reality as a human being. And no matter how you look at race, gender, or any of the other things that we participate, class, any of these other things, every one of those things participates in reality from some form of feeling as though they're a victim. It's just psychologically programmed in. So we need to remember that we're human beings. We need to think and feel and see like human beings, because that's what the whole industrialized civilizing process was about and is about, is to erase our ability to recognize ourselves as human beings. This is about altering perceptual reality. This is how you change spiritual perceptions of reality. You get the human being to no longer understand being a human being, and then you've altered their spiritual reality, man, and you really have major big time, and after that it's always about catch up. It's a human being. So we need to remember that. Whatever it is that we're dealing with, we need to think like human beings. Our power. And this is where it's important to understand about being a human being, because we don't recognize ourselves as a human. We recognize ourselves as human beings. Human. Bone, flesh, and blood. Right? Is made up of the DNA. Our DNA, we're made up of the metals, minerals, and liquids of the earth. We are shapes of the earth. We have being. All things of the earth are made up of they have the same DNA. Everything of the earth. Same metals, minerals, and liquids make everything of the earth. Everything of the earth has being. We all have being. Our being comes from our relationship to the sun, sky, universe. It's literally like sunlight. That's like the sperm that brings life to the water-bearing womb that is the earth. So our relationship as human beings to the reality of power is in our relationship to that reality. Being, our power. All right? So we're in this perceptual and technologic reality where we know that they can take the flesh and blood that's called uranium and put it through a mining process in the fossils and convert its being into a form of energy to run a system. Well, they do that to us. Take the being part of human, right? And through mining our minds, through the indoctrination and programming of how to perceive reality, they use our intelligence. They use our minds, all right, to mine the energy, our being, and turn it into a form of energy to run their system. And they do this because we're human beings. This is why we have to remember who we are. Now we know that when you take the other life forms, being is a life form. So whether it's a stone life form, when you take the other life forms, right, and you put them through this mining process, it leaves behind poison and toxic waste. And we're aware of that. Well, when you mine the being part of human, all right, it leaves behind poison and toxic waste, and the poison and toxic waste are the fears, the doubts, and the insecurities, all right, that become a part of our perceptual reality. So once the mining has taken place, we no longer remember we're human beings, and we're participating in reality based upon our perception of reality through our inabilities. Our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities. Get behind the bravado. Away from the bravado and the mask and all the paint and stuff, right? Down to the reality. Basically, we participate in this reality based upon our perception of our inabilities. Now, take that, all right? Now, how many of you have ever had a moment of feeling powerless when you were sitting in a room, all right, or had this feeling powerless, all right, and through your fears and your doubts and your insecurities, how bad can you make yourself feel? And then, how does that affect the people around you? All right? Well, there's an obvious contradiction here. You're not powerless. We've just been programmed to believe we're powerless when we're using our power, all right, to disrespect ourselves and everything around us in a negative way. And every bit of that was programmed into how we perceive reality. So it's not about powerlessness. It's about recognizing who we are and using that power in a healthy way. So it's really an issue of coherence. If we understand that we're human beings and we access our power through clear and coherent use of our intelligence, then we manifest. All right? Then we can create and manifest the reality that we need. And we have to understand it. We do it all the time, because if we sit around and make ourselves feel miserable, then we're manifesting that reality. See, so it's just a matter of a slight perception, shift of perception of how we perceive reality. The power of our intelligence. See, now, and everyone that wants a spiritual relationship to life, and whatever the spiritual quest is, to me, in my own mind, and I mean no disrespect to anybody, to me, it isn't going to be real to the Creator until we use the gifts that the Creator gave us in the way the Creator gave them to us. See, all of it, it's lip service. Well, I'm sorry, but lip service isn't going to synchronize us with our power. To show respect to our Creator, then we need to show the respect. We need to respect the intelligence our Creator gave us and use it clearly and coherently. See, this is how the prayers get answered. This is how the thing starts to happen. Because we're adding we're introducing coherency into the reality of energy. If there's anything that this predator energy fears, anything that they fear, it's a clear, coherent, thinking human being. They don't care if you got a gun, a bomb. They don't care if you hijack air. They don't care about any of that, because they got more guns, more bombs, more airplanes. They invented the guns, the bombs, and the airplanes. They don't care. See, because that feeds into the energy of chaos and incoherence. To use the intelligence as clearly and coherently as possible. Now, so a part of the programming has taken effect. A part of the way that it has worked is they have turned the human beings into citizens and religions and things. All right, but they have taken away our ability to think. I mean, they haven't really taken it away, because the ability's there, but they've taken away our understanding that we have that ability. They have replaced thinking with believing. All right, now just your own little poll as you wander around reality. How many times do you hear people say "I think" versus how many times do you hear people say "I believe"? Well, believing and thinking, they're two different things. All right? All right? And actually, believe has a lie right in the middle. All right? Think about that. Because actual reality is, if I believe, in reality, that means I don't know. Why don't I just say it? If you believe, that means you don't know. But you won't go around and have conversations with people saying, I don't know this, I don't know that. So you just go around and say, well, I believe this, I believe that. It's a nice little trick, but it's just keeping us completely disconnected from the reality of our power. See, it's like it's a vibratory, everything about energy, it's a vibratory reality. We project electromagnetic thought in scientific terms, right? So everything. So words are sounds that we make. See, and thoughts are things, our thoughts are it's a different kind of sound that we're sending out there. And it has its own vibratory thing. So the words that we make, the sounds that we make, should have something to do, I think, all right, in a tonal way, vibrating with what the thinking is doing. See, so I think that they created language, that they alter these. Am I confusing? No. That's good. so I think they've taken language, and they've created certain words, sounds, that neutralize what's being thought. Just in the vibratory thing, because everything's about energy. So, and as an example, so when I sit around and say I believe this and I believe that, that means I'm not going to think about it. It just means, plain simply put, I'm not going to think about it. Because I already believe it. And that's the way the thinking process gets shut down. Because when we look at the situation that we're in individually within our lives, and the predator thing is there, and it's very real, and it cannot be ignored away. But when we look at our own lives, whether it's in our individual lives or what's going on around us, how much coherency am I bringing to the table? Or how much am I bringing to the table that is basically based upon my beliefs? And there's a distinction between, see, I think we should think and feel with our feelings. I don't think we should believe and emotionally react to our beliefs about the reality of our power, synchronizing with our power, all right? Because we can outthink them. It's the only chance we have. We'll never outfight them. We can outthink them. That's why they fear coherence. But the 17,000 page thing, I know what I did. I'm just crazy, and I lived crazy and was wild, and I got away with as much as I could. But I didn't really commit any crimes. You know what I mean? Well, technically. And I represented no threat. So why would they do all these papers? Because I have the ability occasionally to be coherent. And usually it works in front of people. The incoherent stuff got its own. They don't like a lot of people around. But it made me think, well, because all I did was think. All I did was talk. But see, there's something in there, so they don't want us thinking. They want us to vote. They don't want us to think, right? Right? They want us to. They want us to have unsynchronized communications with the Creator. So that's what they gave us religion for, right? So we couldn't synchronize our communication with the Creator, right? Because in reality, our communication with the Creator is between us and the Creator. And it's how we participate in this reality. In religion, there's a difference between spiritual and religion. Spirituality is about responsibility. And that's, use your intelligence clearly and coherently the way Creator wanted us to. Responsibility. Religion is about irresponsibility. Because in responsibility, you take responsibility. Right? In religious indoctrination, you give up responsibility when you agree that there's something wrong with you for being born, and therefore you have to submit to the authority and chain of command. Then you're giving up responsibility. And so it's kind of devious. See, so many people, it's about keeping us from synchronizing our energy and our coherence. So there are millions and millions of people that are trying to going through religion because they think that's going to create the solution, but in the end it gets neutralized in many ways because as an example, you've got all these, I'll use the Catholic Church as, and I'm not just, this is just news, and I'm reporting the news. This whole pedophile thing that's been going on. So you got all these good Catholic people that are out there praying, right? They want good stuff, but the gangsters at the top, they're over there having fun with the little boys and girls. Something messed up here. See, so for the people, pray to the Creator. Just pray to the Creator. It's between us and the Creator. And understand that that's really any communication that's spiritually really going to happen. It's going to happen between us like that. We don't need that middleman. And we don't. And the other thing is not to judge anything. It's not our right to judge. It's our responsibility to recognize the reality of the situation and make clear, coherent decisions based upon the reality of the situation that we recognize. If we're going to go around judging things, then we'll never recognize it because our look at it is limited by our judgments.
At times they were kind, they were polite in their sophistication, smiling but never too loudly, acting in civilized manner, an illusion of gentleness, always fighting to get their way. While the people see, the people know, the people wait, the people say, the closing of your doors will never shut us out. The closing of your doors can only shut you in. We know the predator. We see them feed on us. We are aware to starve the beast is our destiny. The times they were kind, they were polite, but never honest. We see your technological society devour you before your very eyes. We hear your anguished cries exalting greed through progress. While you seek material advances, the sound of flowers dying carry messages through the wind trying to tell you about balance and your safety. But your minds are chained to your machines, and the strings dangling from your puppeteer's hands, turning you, twisting you into forms and confusions beyond your control. Your mind for a job, your mind for a TV, your mind for a hairdryer, your mind for consumption. With your atom bombs, your material bombs, your drug bombs, your racial bombs, your class bombs, your sexist bombs, your ageist bombs, devastating your natural shelters, making you homeless on earth, chasing you into illusions, fooling you, making you pretend you can run away from the ravishing of your spirit, while the sound of flowers dying carry messages through the wind, trying to tell you about balance and your safety, trying to isolate us in a dimension called loneliness, leading us into the trap, believe in their power, but not in ourselves, piling us with guilt, always taking the blame, greed chasing out the balance, trying to isolate us in a dimension called loneliness, economic deity seizing power, through illusions created, armies are justified, class systems are democracy, God listens to warmongers' prayers, tyranny is here, divide and conquer, trying to isolate us in a dimension called loneliness, greed a parent, insecurity the happiness companion, genocide conceived in sophistication, technologic material civilization, a rationalization, replacing a way to live, trying to isolate us in a dimension called loneliness. To God, we hope you don't mind, but we would like to talk to you. There are some things we need to straighten out. It's about these Christians. They claim to be from your nation, but man, you should see the things they do all the time, blaming it on you. Manifest destiny, genocide, maximized profit, sterilization, raping the earth, lying, taking more than they need in all the forms of the greed. We ask them why. They say it's God's will. Damn God, they make it so hard. Remember Jesus? Would you send him back to them? Tell them not to kill him. Rather they should listen. Stop abusing his name and yours. We do not mean to be disrespectful, but you know how it is. Our people have their own ways. We never even heard of you until not long ago. Your representative spoke magnificent things of you, which we were willing to believe. But from the way they acted, we know you and we were being deceived. We do not mean you or your Christian children any bad, but you all came to take all we had. We have not seen you, but we have heard so much. It is time for you to decide what life is worth. We already remember, but maybe you forgot. Look at us. Look at us. We are of earth and water. Look at them. It is the same. Look at us. We are suffering all these years. Look at them, they are connected. Look at us, we are in pain. Look at them, surprised at our anger. Look at us, we are struggling to survive. Look at them, expecting sorrow be benign. Look at us, we are the ones called pagan. Look at them on their arrival. Look at us, we are called subversive. Look at them, descending from name-callers. Look at us, we wept sadly in the long dark. Look at them, hiding in technologic light. Look at us, we buried the generations. Look at them, inventing the body count. Look at us, we are older than America. Look at them, chasing a fountain of youth. Look at us, we are embracing earth. Look at them, clutching today. Look at us, we are living in the generations. Look at them, existing in jobs and debt. Look at us, we have escaped many times. Look at them, they cannot remember. Look at us, we are healing. Look at them, their medicine is patented. Look at us, we are trying. Look at them, what are they doing? Look at us, we are children of earth. Look at them, who are they?
And hello, everybody. Raven's Purple Haze here. And doing my show, Earth Sounds, I picked up a book a while back, actually, and I thought this would be fitting. Obviously, you've heard some stuff from John Trudell. I am very active in my Native American, um, you know, I guess, shows, news, um, activism, anything that has to do with my Native American roots, I'm very active in. So I figured I will bring something to you guys that probably, because this book is very hard to be found, and I found it as I was doing my spring cleaning. So anyway, I thought it was important. So we did hear an excerpt of John Trudell talking about the identity crisis as a human, and so I thought I'd play that for you, and as well as some of his music that he puts, or poetry that he puts with music, obviously Native American music. I'm going to read to you a small excerpt of his bio that he has on his own page on johntrudell.com. It states, John Trudell is an acclaimed poet, national recording artist, actor, and activist whose international following reflects the universal language of his words, work, and message. Trudell, a Santee Sioux, was a spokesperson for the Indian of all tribes occupation of Alcatraz Island from 1969 to 1971. He then worked with the American Indian Movement, AIM, serving as a chairman of AIM from 1973 to 1979. In February of 79, a fire of unknown origin killed Trudell's wife, 3 children, and mother-in-law. It was through his horrific tragedy that Trudell began to find his voice as an artist and poet, writing in his words to stay connected to his reality. And with that, I wanted to read a couple of excerpts of this book. It's called Stickman, and I want to read to you a small little comment that he has on here in his book. Actually, a quote that's from Crazy Horse's father to young Crazy Horse. And it says, "Somewhere a good man must rise from the young ones among us. It will not be enough for him to speak words of wisdom if he cannot give the people ears to hear and hearts to make them strong against the power of the white man's favor." And that was Crazy Horse's father to young Crazy Horse. Now this book has poetry, has conversations with John. We're only going to touch base on some and then play most of his music or excerpts and stuff that I have loaded on here for him. But I think I'm going to read something that he wrote. Let's see, that I have here for him. And I hope you're enjoying today's show. And like he says, everything is an evolution. And he also quotes, he says, Crazy Horse didn't want his picture taken because he didn't want it to capture his spirit. He says, me, I'm going to use my picture to carry mine. So with that, he writes a few poems. And one of his poems says, no matter where I tried to hide, I never could. Always I have to face outward, only to be seen from inside. What some did it make trying to hide. I think hiding in the calm is the hardest, or maybe it was the anger that made me feel that way, knowing the reality it's not the same as the pain, the illusions brought like presents for the suffering spirit, wrapped in the material I used as bandage to fill a gaping wound no one could see but me. Expecting others to understand how I'm fooling, but hiding in front of them. I used up all that I could, bringing some of you with me, knowing there is no place for us to make a peace by hiding in the presence of those is how it is supposed to be. Finally, when I abandoned you, I abandoned me, out in the open for all to see. Then there was nothing to hide. Hiding, this morning I went outside to smile at the sun, and walked in the grass, rejoice in the early morning dew, give thanks to Mother Earth for being so open, for her beauty, her sincerity. I looked around at my human relations, myself. I see so much hiding, hiding for so much, for so many reasons. I looked at Mother Earth in her open ways, and where did we go wrong? We no longer follow our mother's lessons. We hiding from each other? Why are we hiding from ourselves when there is no place to hide? Hiding in hidden thoughts, hiding in the surface relationships, hiding in rationalizations hidden from truth, hiding in power systems and structures created by us, hiding in the confusion, ignorance, and deceit, hiding in humanity while humanity suffers. Sometimes Mother Earth weeps while we curse the rain, hiding in illusions, struggling against peace, afraid to be what we are or even understand why. Romantic expressions to loved ones to keep them from knowing ourselves, secrets becoming prisons instead of experiences, shame instead of learning, lessons piling on to be viewed as guilt, always hiding from the last time, only to have to hide one more time, turning love to something alien, giving birth to insecurity, hiding from one another. We go on pretending to come out of hiding. In these limited relationships, never realizing Mother Earth offers no place for this hiding. She understands but does not approve of our hiding, for we cause her to suffer as all children do. When they hurt themselves, she gives off her energy to comfort us. Share with us the magnificent creation while all we can do is hide. Many are the times Mother Earth weeps for us. I think I'll stop hiding. I like that one. And with that, I'm going to play another John Trudell song, or I guess it's called Blue Indians. It's one of my favorites, as well as one of my friends, also collaborator of this show, who every once in a while comes and does some snippets on here. My friend Michael Kicking Bear, and the song is called Blue Indians. So I hope you're enjoying it, and when we come back, we'll do more of the book.
Thoughts of dreams aren't really dreams. Escaping nothing, nothing escapes. Myth slayers undermine their own realities, feeding turbulence to soul's distortion streams, wearing away inside of hearts worn out, branded in prisons of fantasy and doubt. Blue Indians being pulled into melting pots. Ruling class rules, the haves and have-nots. Industrial reservation, tyranny stakes its claim. Blue Indians, emotional siege and civilized stain. Shadows forsaken truths unrecognized. Tears fall from broken minds of man. Aggression masquerades in many rides. Winner takes all, a lie that lies. Illusion, greed with a respected side. Glory and gold lead a desperate chase. Blue Indians, melting pots, ruling classes, haves and have-nots. minded persons search for meaning. Story keepers run out of bandages. History's washed in ritual blood. Traditions bleed in high-tech flood. Workers, not serfs. Terminologies change. Progress is evolution. Terminal strange. Blue Indians being pulled into melting pots. Grueling class rules the haves and have-nots. Industrial reservation, tyranny stakes its claim. Blue Indians, emotional siege in civilized stain. Tears fall from broken minds of man. Living carelessly, a statement of its own. Bitter fruit emerges where bitter seed is sown. Economic chains all dressed out as reward. Gender, race, age, edged in love and rage. Oppressor man, builder, keeper of the cage. Blue Indians, melting pots, ruling classes, haves and have-nots.
Every one of us is the descendant of a tribe. Every person in this room is a descendant of a tribe at some point in our ancestral evolution. Common collective genetic memory that's in there, that's encoded, like I say, in the DNA. And for every individual, encoded in our individual DNA, all right, is the experience of our lineage from the very beginning, whose whole perceptual reality was what I was just saying. All things have being. We're made up of the earth. All my relations pray to spirits. See, and they didn't pray to man or human form. The closest they came to it was they prayed to spirits that were called ancestors. Right? And because they were praying those ancestors for help and guidance, they understood that we were borrowing today from the past and the future. We're borrowing it from both places. So they had this understanding of reality, so they knew that to keep the balance was the purpose. That was the purpose. The reason for being was to keep the balance. In our common collective genetic ancestral mind, not a one of our ancestors went for the new show. Nobody they wouldn't buy the tickets. So the show was going to die. So the show decided rather than it die, it would make our ancestors die until they accepted the show. And this is what happened. And it happened to all of us. Whatever happened to the Indians here, trust me, it happened to the tribes of Europe. It started happening to them 3,000 years before it happened to us. So by the time the descendants of tribes of Europe got here, they had it down. They were very efficient. They could do in a couple hundred years what it took. Well, no offense. So in our collective genetic ancestral memory, we had the experience of encountering the technologic perceptual reality. Because somewhere as this thing unfolded and refined itself as it was spreading over the planet, a religious perceptual reality was used to replace a spiritual perceptual reality. All right? Because the spiritual sense of reality, you're connected to everything, man. You're connected. But in the religious perceptual reality, see, you committed a crime for being born. See, you're for getting here. I didn't make this up. I'm not making it up now. Right? But anyway, we committed a moral crime for getting here, so now we had to submit to that worldview. To me, coherently to me, it's clearly a blatant, very blatant perceptual altering how one perceives reality. It's brainwashing intensified at its maximum, right? because our ancestors were forced to see life differently in order to remain just physically alive. All right, it's like, I don't really know that much about what happened to Europe, but I would suggest every person of European descendancy that you go and you study. You want to know more about your reality? Go and study your tribal ancestry and see how you got civilized. All right? See how you got civilized. Because terrible things happened. Right? We know there was an Inquisition. And this Inquisition went on for 400 or 500 years in Europe. The purpose of the Inquisition was to alter the perceptual reality of the descendants of the tribes of Europe, to make them believe and see reality the way the church wanted them to believe and see reality. The church called it, they waged a war for possession. This is important. They waged a war for the possession of the souls of the godless heathens. And to be a godless heathen, you just didn't believe in God. It wasn't part of your reality. Or another way of becoming a godless heathen was to question the authority of the church to do this. See, again, I'm not making this up. This did transpire. These things did happen. And they killed as many people as they could, I guarantee it, in order to get the other ones to submit. So they killed as efficiently as they could with the technology they had at their disposal at that time, all right? And because they created a rationalization as to why to do it, so it just became as efficient as they could do. And at some point, the descendants of the tribes of Europe no longer knew what it meant to be a human being. They just didn't know. They didn't want to know. So the descendants of the tribes of Europe, in the end, had to love what they feared, which was there to possess them. See, and I think it messed up love in a lot of ways,
And that was John Trudell talking about the tribes of Europe. And I have another small reading from Stickman. I think he made this one also into a song. It's called The Last Rush in Babylon. It says, voices catching up, voices catching up. Watch out, child, watch out, child. Babylon is falling down, falling down. Society, broken promise, economic war, citizen whores, political pimps leaving us, flat on our backs, trading today, waiting for our promised land, role-playing roles, covering everyday's fear, going off to work, having the job done on us, in the eyes of God, building the bomb, loving thyself, hating thyself, in the illusion, voices catching up, voices catching up. Watch out, child, watch out, child. Babylon's falling down, falling down. Caligula laughs loudly through time, twisting love to get at the seers. Class is material consumed, designer worlds, create electric impulses, turning down life, the real goodbye, see it in our face, see it in every place. Last rush in Babylon, voices catching up, voices catching up. Watch out, child, watch out, child. Babylon is falling down, falling down. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's listening, especially my friend Mr. Pothead. I know this is what you normally are not used to listening to, because I do a lot of, I think I have a couple of other shows on here. This one is just dedicated to Native American stuff, which I do the Earth Sounds. You can catch some of those on that. I also do Raven's Purple Haze, Let There Be Rock. So that's where I play most of my rock music. But in the meantime, if you're guessing, or if you've already guessed, yeah, I am a bit nerdy, and I do catch up on my reading with my Native American activists. And I do a lot of Native American things, because, yeah, I am Native American. Anyway, going back to this book, Stickman, if you ever get a chance to read it, it's really good. It has a lot of poetries, interviews and stuff with John Trudell. And I'm not sure if you guys or I hope you're enjoying today's show. It's eye-opening because he's very active in what he talks about, pretty much keeping the earth clean, environmental stuff, his plight with the American government, as now we're just finding out that everything, is being twisted around, and who knows what else is out there. But he has been very active for a very long time, and so I pick up his books every now and again and read, and sometimes I read them over and over again, because even though they were written a while back, they still have meaning, at least to me. And, let's see. I'm going to read another one of his poems. I have a lot of little excerpts here that I'd like to read and stuff. So I hope you like this one. It's called Listen to the Skies, Listen to the Sound. Something on the land, something going down. Down pressors speeding by life, fever's heart burning, rivers to cross. Walls of Babylon, material noise, thinking they've touched the moon. Freedom takes a rocket blast, just another day like yesterday. Rockin' my heart, rockin' the res. Women like you, times like this, all that's real connects to you. Happy medicine making me smile, seeing you laugh, getting so near, rockin' our hearts, rockin' the res. Carrying on like it ain't been gone. War Maker's back in town. His notion taking care of us. Not same as not even though. Okay. Anyway. Sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on. So, that is pretty much what he said. Before we had the screaming, I have screaming children in the background. I do apologize. But anyway, like I said, I do have more readings to come. I don't want to bore you with all the readings, so I'm doing intermittent songs and intermittent stuff. So here's more John Trudell. Actually, he's talking about Leonard Peltier. If you don't know about Leonard Peltier, after this I will give you more synopsis on who he is and why he's talking about him.
No, they're not going to let him out. And that's never been their intention. But see, what I really think about that thing is that, see, the government had an operative, not an informant or a snitch, an operative.
Which is a whole different story.
Yeah, an informant or a snitch is somebody they grab and they get them to tell on you.
A report, yeah.
Right. An operative is someone they put amongst you to help direct activities.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Illegal activities.
Yes. And see, I think that the government, that there was a government operative amongst that level of AIM leadership, so to speak, that had access to the AIM leadership. Wasn't necessarily a part of the AIM leadership, but had access to the AIM leadership. Mm-hmm. And I think because of this operative, I think this operative is behind the firefight in Oglala, where the agents were killed, mm-hmm. and I think this operative is behind the murder of Annie Mae Aquash. And the way it appears to me is that the operative manipulated both sides against each other on the firefight thing, all right, as a part of a larger plan. But the plan went wrong, and the agents got killed, all right, mm-hmm. because the plan went bad. And see, and if with that being the case, is that the government needs a scapegoat. They need somebody to hold, because they can never ever have this come to light. That this would have never happened if it hadn't been for the government operative playing both sides against the middle.
There are machinations
right.
in it.
Yeah. All right, see, because that means, it's the way the crime laws are written. If this guy did it and somebody was killed, then he's culpable too. See, the government now is playing a role in the murder, the killing of their own agents through this operative. See, so I think that's what's at the bottom, underneath all of this.
That's why they'll never get them another trial.
They never want this to come up.
Right.
All right, and I really think that that's what the deal is. So what I find interesting, and you got to be careful because it's fine lines, but all through the years, the Peltier support, defense, all this, say they've only been asking for the government to obey the law, or they've been asking for pity, they've been asking for mercy. They've been asking for things that the government is not known to do. See, so all of the emphasis and energy has been put there, telling the government you're wrong, you're breaking the law. The government knows this. They don't care. We can say about it and cry about it all we want. Practical realities. Mm-hmm. All right? But it's never been approached of, if the operative was there, see, if the operative was there, then this changes the whole legal dynamic in a way, all right, that alters this thing, that could be very beneficial to Leonard. So anyway, my own personal opinion is they're going to keep him there and hold him there, because they don't have to do anything else, because the energy isn't out there to get them to change this thing. Mm-hmm. But I think it's got to do with this operative thing. I really do.
That's a complete new slant on it. I've always thought that, as long as he's in prison, then there's an awful lot of people whose energies are tied up trying to get him out.
Yeah, but they're covering themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has just got to be, and the same thing with the killing of Annie Mae. Just the way the whole thing shakes down. The government, they're trying a few people here and there now and then, 30 years after the fact. Mm-hmm. See, but they let enough time pass, see, because the operative, see, so I think there's an operative who's connected to the killing of Annie Mae and that gunfight that took place in Oglala. And nobody's looking. That's what I find interesting. I started to say about the Peltier. See, nobody has ever really seriously went searching to see, because I figure this operative there has to be a paper trail left behind in some kind of a way, because the operative would need to get credibility with the AIM leadership. So that means the operative would have had to have done certain things in order to get that kind of credibility, in order to push them off into doing these kinds of things.
He'd have had some kind of cut.
So somewhere in there, I know there's a trail, a paper trail, inconsistencies, there are certain things, but no one has ever sat down and made that hunt.
And they may not even know what to look for.
Well, I would start with the Custer defendants is where I would start.
The Custer defendants?
The Custer defendants, I would start there. I would look at the BIA takeover, the BIA occupation in Washington, D.C., and the Custer defendants. All right? And I would start, and then after those two incidents are over, see who is visible publicly. And I would hunt from there.
So that was John Trudell on Leonard Peltier, and let me give you a little background on Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier is an imprisoned Native American considered by Amnesty International, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, National Congress of American Indians. Leonard Peltier was also convicted for the deaths of 2 FBI agents who died during the 1975 shootout on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and Mr. Peltier has been in prison for over 29 years. Now, the Wounded Knee occupation of 1973 marked the beginning of the 3-year period of political violence on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and the tribal chairman hired vigilantes, self-titled them as goons, to rid the reservation of American Indian Movement, the AIM, activists, and sentiment. More than 60 traditional tribal members and AIM members were murdered, and scores more were assaulted. Evidence indicated that goon responsibility in the majority of the crimes, but despite all large FBI presence, nothing was done to stop the violence. Now, the FBI supplied the goons with intelligence on AIM members and looked away as goons committed crimes. On former goon members reported that FBI supplied him with armor-piercing ammunition. Now, Leonard Peltier was an AIM leader and was asked by traditional people at Pine Ridge, South Dakota, to support and protect the traditional people being targeted for violence. Mr. Peltier is also a small group of young AIM members set up camp on a ranch owned by a traditional Jumping Bull family. On June 26th of 1975, 2 FBI agents in an unmarked car followed a pickup truck into the Jumping Bull Ranch. The families immediately became alarmed and feared an attack. Shots were heard, and a shootout erupted. More than 150 agents, goons, and law enforcement surrounded the ranch, and when the shootout ended, the 2 FBI agents and 1 Native American lay dead. The agents were injured in a shootout and were then shot at close range. The Native American Joseph Stuntz was shot in the head by a sniper's bullet, and Mr. Stunt's death has never been investigated, nor has anyone ever been charged in the connection with his death. According to FBI documents, more than 40 Native Americans participated in the gunfight, but only AIM members Bob Ribideau, Darrell Butler, and Leonard Pelletier were brought to trial. Mr. Ribideau and Mr. Butler were arrested first and went to trial. A federal jury in Iowa acquitted them on the grounds of self-defense, finding that their participation in the shootout was justified, given the climate of the fear that existed on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Further, they could not be tied to the close-range shootings. Leonard Pelletier was arrested in Canada on February 6 of 1976, along with Frank Blackhorse, also known as Frank DeLuca. And the United States presented that the Canadian court was with affidavits signed by Myrtle Poor Bear, who said she was Mr. Pelletier's girlfriend and allegedly saw him shoot the agent. In fact, Miss Poor Bear had never met Mr. Pelletier and was not present during the shootout. Soon after, Miss Poor Bear recanted her statements and said the FBI threatened her and coerced her into signing the affidavits. Now, Mr. Pelletier was extradited to the United States, where he was tried in 1977. The trial was held in North Dakota before United States District Judge Paul Benson, a conservative jurist appointed in the federal bench by Richard M. Nixon. Key witnesses, like Myrtle Poor Bear, were not allowed to testify, and unlike the Ribideau Butler trial in Iowa, evidence regarding violence on the Pine Ridge was severely restricted. So that is a little snippet about Mr. Leonard Pelletier and why John Trudell talks about him. So I have another reading by Mr. Trudell, and now I guess I hope you're getting the picture about his plight and why he talks so much about the government and things like that, or of that nature. And this one says, Never Never Blues is called. I never should have turned my head. I never should have believed my eyes. I never should have caught your spell. I never should have rushed too high. I never should have sensed your musk. I never should have painted my dream. Oh girl, you never gonna make me cry again. If I ever get through this, if I ever make it this time, used up tears, never gonna make me cry no more. I never should have watched your moves. I never should have wanted your smile. I never should have felt your breath. I never should have tasted your voice. I never should have kept your caresses. I never should have wished out loud. Oh girl, you never gonna make me cry again. If I ever get through this. If I ever get through this time. Used up tears, never gonna make me cry no more. I never should have looked more than once. I never should have remembered your name. I never should have thought those thoughts. I never should have saw you, not saying. I never should have fell on my heart. I never should have came apart this way. Oh girl, you're never gonna make me cry again. If I ever get through this, if I ever make it. Used up tears, never gonna make me cry no more. I really like that one. I'm not sure if you guys caught the meaning. I think he's talking about loss, and I guess it's just self-explanatory. Let's see. We have another one from one of his called Poetic Motion, and it says, Every way, every day turns, same say our fates are sealed. Any way the candle burns, the harvest is the yield. She ain't Barbie, but she's had her chance at plastic. She ain't hard, but she knows difference from streets. Make she ain't easy, but she's taken long search for love. She isn't young, but she's not as old as she feels at times. She isn't old, but she's never really got over being young. She isn't running, but she's seen the rough in the world, too tough. What we see is how we pay, good thought, dreams, poet motion. How we pray is what we play, the loving life, needs, caring, devotion. She isn't afraid, but she hears mistakes, lessons, say, be careful. She isn't lost, but she knows confusion, frustrations bring. She isn't radical, but she can't turn away from right and wrong. She isn't mad, but she's angry and way everybody's treated and mistreated. She isn't unrealistic, but she's this shouldn't happen to people's dreams. She isn't surrounding, but occasionally she falls, sometimes by accident. Every way, every day turns. Some say our fates are sealed. Anyway, the candle burns. The harvest is the yield. Waves of light wait to be found. Good thoughts, dreams, poetic motion. Join the circle going round. The loving life needs caring devotion. And that was Poetic Motion. And I do love that one. I find a lot of those points very poignant in me because, you know, I like that one. The next one is from him again, and it's called Rich Man's War. Also in Graffiti Man in 1986, which is another book. And these are a bunch of excerpts of his stuff. And it goes like this. It says, Rich Man's War. Industrial streets, class lines, money talks, turning language, two paper pieces, rich man's war, free man's society raging, violent insecurity, nuclear woman, unclear how to act, rich man's war, Pershing's cruising Europe, America, Russia, governmental, nuclear views, industrial allies cutting the world as though they cannot see, blood flowing, rich man's war, Central America bleeding, wounds, same as Palestine and Harlem, 3 Mile Island, El Salvador, Pine Ridge and Belfast, rich man's war, the poor, starving for food, starving for land, starving for peace, starving for real, rich man's war, attacking human, attacking being, attacking earth, attacking tomorrow, rich man's war, thinking of always war, thinking of always war, with new machines for ancestors, new unborn generations, chemical umbilical cords, our only wiring, and our electrical progress, human lives, burnt offerings to the god greed, with lies of for ancestors. There is no truth in some futures, rulers of minds, feeding next generation souls to the control machine, sacrifice rituals, for the profit of technology, with isolation for ancestors. There is only the present, bought by the credit, material uses forging chains, binding you to destruction, compliments of deities, the industrial priests, no more than neon flesh, trying hiding on eon mask, have to face who we really are. Some point we have to choose. Distant star, distant light, in real world. We are human beings in the shadow of real world. We are human. Eon masks for neon flesh, distant thunder, distant cloud. Passion reigns, drenched in possession. What we take is hard to do. What we do is hard to take. Someone are crazy, or maybe we take turns. Dreaming about some kind of life. We say it couldn't been different. But it wasn't because we weren't. No matter what, it turns out the same. Lots of things were said but weren't true. Industrial stories in an electric instant. Eon mask, neon flash, neon flash. Things, nihilistic desires, civil lies gone insane. Didn't imagine it turning like this. Some things start good and go bad. Some things get bad and stay bad. Are we caught in between, living in the lie or not living at all, eliminating choices, lost in the dreams we let go, memories we never got to have, something else to think about, waking up in an industrial society, surrounded by angry days, going through motions of not being, wanting the best but not expecting, surviving paid but not in dreams, feeling like a world alone, serving God with the devil, feeling like something is no place. What goes on in hell anyway? Thing is this, to do with heart, we had to understand what hearts are for before we can get back to heaven or paradise or the power in our mind. He is, I don't know, I love John Trudell. He's awesome. He likes to say things the way people can understand them sometimes. If you ever get a chance, there's definitely some interviews and stuff that he has done talking to the public. Sometimes he goes to colleges and does these talks with the college kids. So if you ever get a chance, go check him out once again. Here is another one called Lavender Blues. It's also on Graffiti Man from his 1986 book. He wakes up about noon these days, vaguely remembering ancient world sunrises, looking into mirrors where one stream used to be. He shakes his head, chafing puffs of sleep from his eyes. What he does must be real, and what he doesn't. Like an electric Indian dueling in video, John Wayne in a place some way in the best country in the world. Reality darts back and forth, night into day, past into present, day into night, present into future, exposing a new malaria called material delirium, neon hits, advertising industrial mosquito bites, hard to find the truth, hard to find the lies, is paying for the product, promoting his demise. His day doesn't even start until dark these days. Old warriors never die. They turn into driftwood, drifting into industrial seas, faces on a clock, confined hands telling lies about time, imposed illusions. Who's too restless to rest? The new wilderness men, wolves to the weary of wandering promise, locked out of childhood houses. What happened to the family man, once intimately known? Woman and loving change with changing purpose. Empty arms, obvious reminders of empty arms. Unlike so long ago, when he had it all together, he tries remembering how he got confused these days. Who's accepted and is being alright seems too wrong. Trying to survive religions with gods at war. Old ways, old habits, human dreams struggle on. Fragmentation, good with bad, hanging between him, putting him on limbs between dimensions. Living too many days like a lyric with no song, recognition falters at times but always reemerges. He goes to sleep with the sunrise these days. So, let's see. I have a quote from John Trudell, and he says, "One side of the face prays for salvation, and the other side of the face prays for E." Well, not the E that you're thinking about, but Earth. Let's see. I'm just bringing up the ones that I marked that I actually love the most. This one is from All Tribes, and it's called Born 18. And it says, "We were born 18. If you think we're strange, you ought to see the others. We were born 18 in the middle of Babylon dream. It's crying shame. It's the name of the game. Learning how to ride out the storm. What did we take? What did we steal? What did we keep? What did we waste? We wandered with neon eyes amongst broken lights. Out of sync, fantasize on becoming the reality, turning over images for others to see. What we cannot face looks for us anyway. Brethren down our necks, these breaths of fire, we fought for carnal balls. Still nothing settled. With all these hangers to go around, masters of disguise, living double lives, hiding and smiling, we were born 18. Nothing we can do but conjure what we need. The work is going on, and the work is going on. It's just more pyramids and slaves wasting lives in the royal flesh. Nothing new happening here. Nothing new. We were born 18. So, with that, I'm going to give you a little break. We still have more on the book Stickman from John Trudell, and I will put another John Trudell I guess, interview, and this one is he's talking about hemp. And once again, thank you for listening to Raven's Purple Haze here on Spreaker Radio on my show, Earth Sounds.
My name is John Trudell. I'd like to see more emphasis put on raising the awareness of hemp and the benefits of hemp. Not medical marijuana, hemp, all right, as an alternative energy and as an alternative to the petrochemical and industrial reality. On an acre of land, it grows enough hemp that you could get 300 gallons of oil, about 5.5 barrels of oil per acre. And you get all this tonnage from the seed, right, which can be used for food, right? It can be used, the plant, the outer stalk, the inner stalks, these things now become used for paper and building materials. I mean, it makes stronger concrete than concrete. You know, you can convert it into fuel and run your vehicle. You can turn it into food. You can build your houses out of it. You know, you can make paper out of it. You know, you put it in your toothpaste. There's like 25,000 uses for it. And the deal is, but when hemp is being grown, it doesn't need pesticides. It has its own thing here going for it, so it doesn't really need the pesticides, so it's healthier for the earth. You look at the hemp, and in practical reality, if there were a hemp-based economy going on, there would be this huge acreage of hemp growing, which would meet these fuel, food, shelter, all these other needs, but it would also be making fresh oxygen, all right, for a carbon monoxide choking sky, climate change. It would be making fresh oxygen on a yearly basis. It makes it, you can harvest it, and it grows again next year and makes it again next year. Much faster cycle than with a tree. You cut down a tree, it takes forever, right? See, so these the first grow law in America, the first grow law was a hemp law, grow law. They had to grow it. The very first grow law, right, in America was they had to grow hemp. The Pilgrims, all in people, whoever they were, they had to grow hemp. See, hemp would be a saving grace for farmers in practical reality, because they would be the ones to grow it. Because we're not talking about medical marijuana and some growers over here and there. We're talking about agriculture and a farm-based economy, all right? And hemp would be very beneficial. It would save the family farm. It would make farming less expensive. You know, the product that comes out of hemp, now if you can make concrete out, there's industries that would have to come out to support this hemp. You know, and it realistically creates an alternative energy green economy. I mean, literally a green economy. You know, and in our past, see, up until 1885, hemp was the largest growing crop on this planet. Everybody used it, right? And then oil, petrochemical oil was discovered. And then they figured out what they could do with oil. See, well, they could do with oil what they could do with hemp, right? Or now you can do with hemp what you can do with oil, right? But then it was, right? And so, and with the oil and the forest, trees for paper, the oil and the forest thing, see, only a few people can own that. Hemp, everybody could own. So so as the Industrial Revolution started to take place and their technology started evolving, so by the 1900s they discovered they can make plastics out of petrochemical, right? And so they didn't need hemp. See, so hemp was a threat. When the first anti-marijuana legislation in the early 1900s, all right, this was really about, they weren't really after the marijuana. See, but they used Mexicans and marijuana, but they were really after the hemp. See, because the hemp represented a strong economy. See, just some people smoked pot, so they weren't really after it. But see, but they created this big racist scare thing around marijuana, see, and then they included hemp in the banning. You know, so hemp's the real deal. And if we could help find ways for people to think about this and consider it, then we'll see how it changes. But I think it can change. It's the energy and clarity that we put into it that says what the result will be.
There's a shadow over Sister Line, where they Smith and Thomas pointed at her head. Money and authority have their own way of talking, when it comes to the man versus what the woman said. There's a shadow over Sister Land.
And that was John Trudell and his talks about hemp and the realities of how good hemp is, other than smoking marijuana, and just hemp in general, the good things that you can use with it and the things that we can take from it and use it rather than oil and stuff. So here is more readings. This one is called Somebody's Kid. This is from his book called Fables and Other Realities, which is also in the book Stickman. And like I said, Stickman is just a compilation of many of his writings. And it goes like this. It says, I was crazy before. Now I'm crazy again. I won the fool's war. In a game I can't win. Me and Bliss playing hit and miss. Me and Buzzed forgot where I was. Looking for a disguise that passes. Cutting class in our looking glasses. Sons were acting like their fathers. Mothers acting like their daughters. There was a rich, ugly lady. Thought her money made her pretty. There was a respectful, powerful man, being mean with a reckless hand. Told me they were out of civil rights. I looked like a case of civil rights. Me and Jesus trying to keep loose, step ahead of goose, stepping goose, new age world in old world cage, supply and deemed long ordained. And happiness is a short supply. Dealer's man not dealing drugs. Oops. And turn the page. Because people do drugs, it's so they will. A way of fixing them while they break. As they run out of wishes and hopes, he steps in the material of dope. Me and I guess are in the mess. Princess of double speak said wasn't her doing what she did. I cried, don't do me like you done. Can't you see I'm somebody's kid? I'm feeling lonesome and blue, so I called my steady, maybe you. She changed her number to 976. Guess she's lonesome and blue too. I tried to catch a falling star when I mistake and hit in the head. When I'm calling falling star struck. Now it goes on and it says this is called Johnny Damas and Me. It's from Johnny Damas and Me in 1994. He writes, Johnny Damas and Me and the mongrel dog. The mongrel dog. We've been laying real low, in the shadow of the road, the road to success, Wood stood face to face, we went head to head, over the idea of money, the idea of money. And that's the way it's done, and that's the way it's done. Speaking in tongues, speaking in tongues. Phrases and traces, traces of words, traces of words. Something still doesn't settle, still doesn't settle, still doesn't settle. Still wild. Wine on coyote moon, a coyote moon. High on a hill, high on a hill. A reckless wind knocks, a reckless wind knocks. Over his shoulder, watching the door, watching the door. Ready for a fight, ready for a fight. Needing to run, needing to run, needing to run. In the Nazi Babylon, in the Nazi Babylon, in the Nazi Babylon, Lucifer dances with angels, dances with angels, dances with angels, and the dead, and the dead, carrying the living in their backs, on their backs, in the Nazi Babylon, in the Nazi Babylon. Ruthless and arrogant, ride the pale pony, ride the pale pony, using hatred as shield, hatred as shield. In the world, where to give also means to take, also means to take. Someone must yield, someone must yield. In the Nazi Babylon, in the Nazi Babylon. Johnny Damas and me. Yeah, Johnny Damas and me. From the story of love, the story of love. The proof that you love me, the proof that you love me, the proof that you love me. A broken heart I couldn't recognize, couldn't recognize. And the mongrel dog, the mongrel dog, the mongrel dog. Went mad in the arms, mad in the arms. And many lovers, they wept in the high, they wept in the high. Baby don't cry, baby don't cry, baby don't cry. Love like the wind, love like the wind. Fly, baby, fly, fly, baby, fly. And the man who is a ghost, is a ghost, is in the alley of mine, an alley of mine, an ally of mine. And he saw the whole thing, he saw the whole thing, from where I can see, from where I can see. Too bad for Johnny and them, yeah, poor Johnny and them. For what I can see, from what I can see, this can't happen to me, can't happen to me, can't happen to me. I don't carry it well, don't carry it well. And the man who is a ghost, is a ghost, is a ghost, is an ally of mine, an ally of mine. Johnny Damas and me, and the mongrel dog, the mongrel dog, whose brethren lies real low. Johnny Damas, Johnny Damas and me. Very interesting. I love it. Here's another one called The Shadow of Sisterhood. It's also in the book of Johnny Damas and me, also in Stickman. It says, there's a shadow over Sisterland with Smith and Thomas pointed at her hand. Money and authority have their own way of talking. When it comes to the man versus the woman said, somewhere sometimes a woman lives the memory of the little girl's pain, dragging through the mind every day in compromise, just to do the time, silence in a mask. When nothing can be said, there's a shadow over Sisterland. Goddess brought the chalice, Dominator made the blade, God slew the serpent, and the woman's bed was made. Tethers of chant, tethers of jewels, economic bondage runs by those rules. The laws of justice are business decisions, gender and class, cut with surgical precision, religion definitions with politics of man. Church and state together in hand, there's shadows over Sisterland. Mother Earth as God, goddess as is woman, meets the God of man. Violent prayers, retaliations, partnerships come to an end. Landlords, ownership prevails, ruling class, industrial males. There's a shadow over sight, and there's a shadow over lands. Let's see, There's more on Graffiti Man. So, like I said, I hope you're liking today's show, and I want to thank you for listening to me, Raven's Purple Haze. Sometimes I go through my weird moments, and I like to do my poetry readings, and or just readings in general. But since this one pertains to an Native American activist, I figured I'd put it on my Native American show called Earth Sounds. And I haven't done a full Earth Sounds as of yet. It's been a couple weeks now. I'm working on it. Once again, I also have some of my friends that come in and talk about interesting stuff. I might have a couple of interviews set up for the next Earth Sounds with some Native American activists. So here is a poem, once again, by John Trudell. It's called Apology. It says, injecting the drug sex, I was hard on the world, trying to drown in passions, no more than sensory, chasing no thing, but fleeing. The rule of the self-doubt, others feeling pain and feelings, my ego threw away. Injecting the drug ego, hallucinating, confused illusions, short, rationing, good, altered energy, in destruct selfishness, feeding on the world, perpetuating a box of madness. When I should stand on my own, recognizing permanent outlasts temporary. It was nothing deliberate. It was all connected. To seeing only with my eyes, I feel as though someone knocked me unconscious. When I entered this world, it's been a lifetime trying to come to. Some never will you know. Period. So the book is actually really good. It has quotes, excerpts. It does have a full interview with him. But obviously it's too long for me to read to you guys. So I just keep reading his little excerpts and his stories. Let's see. I have more to read. And this one is called... Goodness, I lost the page now. I took the thing out. It's called Communication System. Everything in the universe carries within its key, and each one of us has its own hearing. Listen to your hearing, recognize it amongst the desires, the fears, the projections. Our voice and our hearing, creating links to ourselves, to the universe, to our creatures. Link it to where transformation lays, activating consciousness. Listen to your hearing. Like I said, I hope you like it. I'm going to play some more John Trudell and read a couple more excerpts from the book. I hope you're liking Raven's Purple Haze here on Spreaker Radio on Earth Sounds, talking about John Trudell and his book, Stickman. I hope you stay tuned. Here's more John Trudell.
The licorice wall with neon eyes, and the wolf in wolf's clothing appeared in night of the blue moon, traveling from the other side of time. They took him beyond self-reflection into realities of light as it really is. Dreaming wolf welcomed him, a place of no separation by perception, into the land where all are people.
We are the wolf, are the wolf, we are the tree. You are the tree, we are the living. You are the living.
Mother Earth calls to her children. You are all related is the ingredient. Without it, you won't know who you are. Hunted wolf took him by the hand. A little kindness never hurt anyone. A lot of kindness does so much more. Vanishing wolf sang in the sun. There's more to what's going on than what's going on. Ghost wolf laughed in ghost wolf way. Your craving shadows are your demise. Listen to the sound of crying when crying cries.
We are the wolf, you are the wolf. We are the tree, you are the tree. We are the living, you are the living.
Look into our eyes. We are the past, visiting the future. Look into your mind. What kind of meaning do you find? The licorice wolf with neon eyes, and the wolf in wolf's clothing appeared in night of the blue moon. Speaking wolf spoke in words. Distortion plagues in minds of man. You call us predator, then make us the prey. Spirit wolf knows lessons of beauty. Beauty's in eyes of the beholder. Reality is in reach of those beholding eyes.
We are the wolf, you are the wolf. We are the tree, you are the tree. We are the living, you are the living.
We are the wolf. You are the wolf. We are the tree. You are the tree. We are the living. You are the living.
Great John Trudell song. Or poem, or whatever you want to call it, poetry put into music. And I have another poem here from the book Stickman. And if you're just coming in to listen to me, I want to thank you very much. A few friends stopped in and said hello. TJSFM, Mr. Pothead, if you guys get a chance, go listen to their shows. Both of them play great music and funny stuff, and just in general, one of those really cool shows on Spreaker Radio. So if you get a chance, go look them up and hear some of their shows. Going back to Mr. Trudell, this poem here is not titled. It says, "The first time your eyes caressed mine, to say it was like magic. It's to tame the gentle passion and moments shared. In the seeing of glance you took my hand and opened my heart too. The beauty of what I didn't see. I tried to understand why and how these things happen, but you explained too much with your laughing eyes to make me not waste my time, worrying or wandering. Is this meant to be the first time? Your eyes caressed mine, the winds sang their song, the sunshine shimmered with joy, warming the life within me. I hope you like that one. It's untitled. Another one. This one says, Grandfathers. I think that's the title to this one. It says, Grandfathers whispering in the wind, rejoice at the life you are a part of, natural energy bound to natural laws. You will survive this temporary madness imposed on you. Natural life is longer than oppressors, illusionary insanity. Sprint experience human deeds but need not end. This just one place of change. Spirit life is forever if you want. The universe is your home. You can survive here. Do not let them kill you. Keep your spirit strong, for distant stars and distant drums are the memories of spirit infancy as children of earth. Let spirit live so you can grow in your place in the universe. This one is also untitled. It says, someone has to laugh, someone has to cry, everyone gets their turn. Life is not always as we want it. Life, yes, we want it. Trouble is we are confused about how to live. Sometimes pain and laughter mean the same thing. Always the wounding and the healing are one consciousness, motion. Sunlight turns into moonlight, mistakes turn into lesson. Eternity being the patience of time. Someone has to realize, someone has to understand, someone has to laugh, someone has to cry. But everyone gets their turn. This one is called Tears. It says, crystal clear tears of salt come when my heart talks with sadness. Their tears flow, my emotional river. It's not dam used to pretend. Pain will not rise again. Crystal clear tears of salt help my heart to feel for something when I don't want to. Clear my vision, see my peace. Men don't cry. Indians are stoic. I tell that to my heart, my eyes. They just laugh at me, and sometimes when my spirit hurts, they make me cry. Crystal clear tears of salt, purifying my memory. Help me understand this is not the beginning nor the end. Nighttime, when the sun rests, the cloud seems no more than shadows of themselves. Night life, earth absorbing, moon and stars, universal energies, joining us to each other. In the constant creation, destiny, charging the flow, we are the current to forever. And we're almost done, because most of the book also has, let's see, other songs in it, or I guess you can call it poetry put into music, because that's exactly what it is. This one is called Listening, or the Honor Song, by John Trudell's, from Trudell Voice in 1983. And it says, I was listening to the voices of life, chanting in unison, carrying on struggle, the generation surge, together in resistance to meet the reality of power. Mother Earth embraces her children in natural beauty, to last beyond oppressor's brutality as the butterfly floats into life. We are the spirit of natural life, which is forever the power of understanding. Real emotions to spirit, in meaning, our resistance, our struggle. It's not sacrifice, lost, it is natural energy, properly used. One time I was visiting with my relatives, the clouds, the mountains, the sky, the trees. My relatives touched my spirit, nudged it lovingly. Listen to us, impatient one. We are forever. You must remember the gentleness of the time. You are struggling to be who you are. You say you want to learn the old ways, struggling to learn. When? All you want to do is remember. Remember the people. Remember the sky and earth. Remember the people have always struggled to live. in harmony, in peace, struggling against selfishness and weakness, so the people may live as nations. The old ways are hard. The people have always had to work together. Remember, impatient one, remember and live. Do not be afraid of truth, respect, discipline. Share your life so the people may live. Honor sky and earth. Honor yourself. Honor your relations. Remember, impatient one, the gentleness of time. You are more than the light in the night. You are more than the moon. You are spirit connection, your energy in our life. You are memories to generations past. You are the creator of sensations that will always last. You are knowledge, the teacher, the influence to keep the people sane. You are a healer for spirit pain. Grandmother Moon, we love you, and we are angry at the invaders who trash you and violate our universe. With their mechanical uncleanliness, we pray for you, for us, and for the invader who just came, can't comprehend respect, love, or the balance of life. We do not join the invaders' madness for the way they act. It speaks of spirit sadness, machine money progress in the cause of our common abuse. We see you, grandmother. We feel you. We love you. We know. Though your reality we will endure. We are one. We pray for you. We pray for you. And with that, there's several other more poems in this book, but I'm going to leave a little bit to the imagination. If you're interested, go check it out. It's called Stickman by Trudell. It's an awesome book. I'm going to leave some of it for next podcast or next cast, live cast, I guess. So there'll be a part 2 to this, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed today's show. This is Raven's Purple Haze. I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you all for coming here to listen to me, and have yourself a great day.